It's been an extraordinary day in Australian politics. The Foreign Minister Kevin Rudd has resigned at a post-midnight press conference in Washington. We'll hear what he had to say shortly. Kevin Rudd now says he'll return to Australia and consult with his family and parliamentary colleagues about what he should do next. Shortly I'll be speaking with the Environment Minister Tony Burke. Before that, here is soon-to-be former Foreign Minister Kevin Rudd.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great sadness that I announce that I will resign as Australia's Minister for Foreign Affairs. I am sad because I love this job. I'm totally dedicated to the work that we are doing in Australia's name around the world. And I believe that we've achieved many good results for Australia, and I'm proud of them. It's therefore been, for me, a great privilege to serve our country as Foreign Minister, to represent our people abroad, and I thank the people of our country for their support as I've discharged these responsibilities. But while I am sad to leave this office, I am sadder still that it has come to this. The last time I resigned from a position in public office was when I resigned as Prime Minister of Australia. And regrettably, there have been some similar factors at play today. It's time for some plain speaking on this. The truth is, I can only serve as Foreign Minister if I have the confidence of Prime Minister Gillard and her senior ministers. In recent days, Minister Crean and a number of other faceless men have publicly attacked my integrity and therefore my fitness to serve as a minister in the government. When challenged today on these attacks, Prime Minister Gillard chose not to repudiate them. I can only reluctantly conclude that she therefore shares these views. The simple truth is that I cannot continue to serve as Foreign Minister if I do not have Prime Minister Gillard's support. I therefore believe the only honourable thing and the only honourable course of action is for me to resign. And I do so with a genuinely heavy heart and after much personal reflection. I also believe that this ongoing saga is bad for my good friend Anna Bligh, as she fights the fight of her life in Queensland. She's a great Premier. She's a good friend. And I believe the good people of Queensland deserve some clear space over the coming month as they make up their minds on a very important decision on the future of Queensland, my home state, a state I'm very proud to be from. I will return home to Brisbane tomorrow, arriving back there on Friday morning. Over the days ahead, I will be consulting openly and honestly with my family, with my community, and my parliamentary colleagues, taking their counsel on what I should do next and what my next step should be. I will then make a full statement to the Australian people on my future before Parliament resumes next Monday. I deeply believe that if the Australian Labor Party, a party of which I have been a proud member for more than 30 years, is to have the best future for our nation, then it must change fundamentally its culture and to end the power of faceless men. Australia must be governed by the people, not by the factions. But I can promise you this, there is no way that I will ever be party to a stealth attack on a sitting Prime Minister elected by the people. We all know that what happened then was wrong, and it must never happen again. In my letter of resignation to the Prime Minister, I've asked her to give effect to my resignation 48 hours after my return to Australia so that I can effect the best transition for my staff as possible under these circumstances. I think you would understand there's a human dimension to all this. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one overriding question for my caucus colleagues, and that is who is best placed to defeat Tony Abbott at the next election. Mr Abbott, I believe, does not have the temperament or the experience to ever be elected and hold the office, the high office of Prime Minister of Australia. But at present, and for a long time now, he's been on track just to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to express my appreciation for the support of my family, Therese, Jessica, Nicholas, Marcus, chatting to them over the course of the last several hours. I thank them for their encouragement and their support, as always. And you'll appreciate I now have much to do, and therefore I propose to conclude my statement here, and I do not propose to take questions. Thank you.
I'm joined now by political editor Heather Hewitt, and Heather, this has surprised even Kevin Rudd's closest allies.
It certainly happened much sooner than I think anybody expected, including the Gillard camp. They'd been trying to force his hand all week. They've certainly done that now, but who would have expected really a news conference at 1:30 in the morning in a downtown Washington hotel with just a handful of reporters, conveniently, I might add, just in time for the television news bulletins. The Foreign Minister is always very aware of media deadlines, so he had that carefully prepared. He'd clearly thought about it. Who he told, I don't know. You would presume family and possibly his closest supporters, but it certainly appeared to catch many by surprise, including Senator Doug Cameron, who'd been out publicly defending him all day. Let's hear a little bit of that now.
I must say, and I'm extremely disappointed. This came out of the blue. I think that the tearing down of one of our finest foreign ministers by faceless men is just unacceptable. And this just must stop within this party.
Heather, it's true to say, though, that the Gillard camp, if we can call it that, had been ratcheting up pressure all day.
All day, all week really, but it had really built up today. And you would have to think that the news conference that he gave in the early hours of this morning in Washington DC would have to have been in part as a result of that. I think he must have realised that he clearly did not have the numbers to mount a successful challenge of Julia Gillard, not even a decisive numbers in any way to shore him up for a second time, and so out he came with that announcement. Now, you really did have one minister after another coming out today, including those who for several days had not been wanting to talk about it. But today they were saying enough is enough, we've had it. The frustrations were going right through the caucus. This was running very strongly against Kevin Rudd and his campaign. Let's hear now from a couple of them who were speaking out today.
This issue must be resolved, and it must be resolved in the near future, so that we can get on with our job.
I also understand that the leadership speculation is a complete distraction. I think people are sick of it. I think that people just want us to get on with running the country.
But the Gillard supporters had been looking for a smoking gun, and they do believe that they had now some specific allegations of disloyalty.
They had been looking for a smoking gun, and just before we get to that too, I think we need to make the point here that Kevin Rudd raised in his news conference that he would not operate a stealth attack. Well, I don't think Julia Gillard or any of her supporters or many people in the caucus would be under any false impression that he was not mounting some sort of campaign to destabilise her and mount a challenge down the track. So today you had one senior Victorian ALP member telling me in an interview and clearly upping the ante. They were looking for ways to flush Kevin Rudd out and find evidence that he had been disloyal, actively disloyal to Julia Gillard. Michael Danby raised the question, the allegation that Kevin Rudd had been briefing 4 journalists. He named them, 2 ABC journalists and a News Limited journalist. He named them to up the ante, I think, and to try and force Kevin Rudd to deny this. Let's hear from him now. Is Kevin Rudd actively undermining the Prime Minister, and how?
Heather, I know Kevin well. He's a very subtle operator. I can't believe that claim that he met 4 journalists on 3 separate occasions to outline a program to undermine in 2 stages the Prime Minister. I appeal to him to say that this isn't so. If it isn't so, then we can go on. But you know, if it is, it's a smoking gun, and this will have to be over Monday, Sunday or Monday. The public and Australia can't put up with it anymore. Again, I appeal to Kevin Rudd, please say it ain't so that you met with these 4 journalists to discuss this 2-stage program. If it is, there's only one choice for you.
And what is that?
Resign.
So Michael Danby says he's done it, so you must deny. You know, look, I don't know, where would Michael Danby, find out information like this? You know, what's this about, you know? There has to be evidence, and there is absolutely no evidence of a challenge out there. The Foreign Minister has behaved, in my view, in the proper way, and that is to get on with his job and deny any challenges, indicate his support for the Prime Minister, as every politician I've seen on TV has done.
Finally, Heather, $64,000 question, what happens next?
Who knows, but we certainly should know by Monday. Kevin Rudd has told us that. He'll be talking to his family over the weekend. There aren't too many options here. He can either go to the backbench and do nothing, sit quietly. I don't know that a lot of people think that's what is going to happen. He could quit altogether, just leave the parliament. Or he could mount a challenge down the track from the backbench, or he could challenge next week if he wanted to. Anything could happen here, but I think most people would not believe that this is going to go away. I guess it does have to be resolved still one way or another. Whatever does happen, the party has been enormously damaged by this. The public doesn't like it, and really you would think it's very difficult, well nigh impossible, for the party to recover from such ongoing destabilisation and division, almost impossible to win the next election. I think the only issue now is how to avoid some sort of wipeout.
Heather Hewitt, thank you.